when you're gay, you don't like grow up with role models that are like you. I mean, some people do, but a lot of us, like our families shun us, they treat us like shit. So we just have to go out and find a community of people and hope that they have our best interests at heart. Hi! I don't know if I should be making this video, but here we are. Also, I don't know how the lighting is gonna... I use the sunlight because it's free. It's for free. But it's winter time, so the orange lights of the house, and it's creating this ugly color situation that I'm not very fond of. I wanted to talk about addiction, which is something that is probably going to keep me from ever becoming monetized once I reach the standard that you can get monetized. I feel like all my content, really, like I use all of the trigger words you're not supposed to use, like in monetized content. I'm like, man, fuck it, who cares? Editor me here. I just wanted to preface this with a couple things. This video is super vulnerable for me, so please don't use it to like spark hatred or cruelty in the comment section or in my real life if you know me and want to start rumors about me. I don't love them. I'm like asking for it, just saying this. I also feel like because of in the past people have started so many rumors about me after I like talk about this stuff, it's kind of kept me from, you know, telling my full story. But I feel like there's so much power in a story and we can help each other so much by telling our stories. And so I really want to do this. I really want to start talking about this kind of stuff more, because the less we talk about it, the easier it is to stigmatize. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the fact that I can't feel comfortable saying, hey, I was an addict for years. I've been clean for years. Let's talk about it. Let's unpack that and see what we can do to help each other. It's ridiculous that this is a conversation that is so censored, you know, on YouTube especially. I already have a feeling that this is not going to get very many views, which is fine. Maybe one person who needs to see it will see it. Also, a trigger warning, I am going to be talking about drugs quite a bit throughout this video. So if that's something that you're not really comfortable with or whatever, you know, don't watch it. I'm not a medical professional or like an addiction therapist. This is just my own experiences and just talking about what helped me get clean and how I got clean and all of that. So if that's something you want to watch, feel free to keep watching. Just don't use this to hate on people, anyone else, me, anybody. Just that's not what the purpose of this video is for. So, all right, here we go. I wanted to talk about addiction. It's something right now that is really ravaging the gay community. It's ravaging all communities, but the drug of choice in the gay community has become meth, and it's really sad just to see how many people, especially really young people, falling into it really early, because when you're gay, you don't like grow up with role models that are like you. I mean, some people do, but a lot of us, like our families shun us, they treat us like shit. So we just have to go out and find a community of people and hope that they have our best interests at heart. You know, a lot of us are really naive when we're young. I myself first did meth when I was 19 years old, and I was off of it for a few years. And then I ended up getting back on it for a few years, and things got really bad. Like, when they say that you lose everything, they're not joking. Like, you literally, I lost everything. I went from making, you know, $1,000 to $5,000 a week at one point to literally being homeless with nothing but the clothes on my back. Like, that was it. I had nothing else. And the big thing that I wanted to bring up with addiction, with meth specifically, this is really strange. I'm a really spiritual person. I have been for years. Spirituality is one of the things that really helped me dig myself out of that hole, which I think it's pretty common for a lot of people. But some people, they don't ever rely on like a sense of spirituality. So it's interesting. Something that I noticed, that I picked up on as I was using, was every time I used, I would lose something directly afterward. So let's say like I decided to use and then the next day my computer was stolen, or I decided to use and the next day I lost a friend, like a friend was mad at me about something, like, and they quit talking to me, or like it was just one little thing at a time, and it eventually just kind of snowballed until I lost everything completely. And then it took me a while to get clean, and I relapsed a few times, and I noticed that trend continued. When I was relapsing, if I would relapse, I would then lose something, whether it was a job opportunity or a physical item or a loved one or a friend or my housing situation, like wherever I was living at the time. And I feel like this is something that I've never heard anybody say before. Like, I've never heard anybody talk about this. But when you use meth, you are essentially making a deal with the universe to take away the things in your life that matter to you, no matter what they are. It could be anything. Your dog. I lost a dog through all of this. Like, literally everything. Thousands of dollars of film and music equipment, like recording stuff and computers and stuff like that. You're like agreeing to it. And after a while, you have to start recognizing that this pattern is happening, because it's not going to stop until you stop. And one of the ways that people get into it is because they trust these people who lie to them, who say, no, you can live a successful life on meth, like I do it, so-and-so does it. But once you actually like learn about that person, they're not successful at all. They're lying. They're also losing shit in their life. Also, your sanity is one of the things that you lose, because meth drives you insane. So meth is a neurotoxin. So it actually attacks your nervous system. It can cause drug-induced paranoia, schizophrenia, and it did for me, actually. One thing that I've heard, every person in my life that I know, that I've discussed it with, I should say, that I've discussed it with, because I haven't with everybody, but every person in my life that has done meth or was on meth whenever I was on meth with them, who like was actively using it, when they would use it, they would see some sort of shadow person. Different people called it different things. Some people called it a ghost. I called it a shadow person, or like a demon. Like, some people call it, like, one person I knew called it Bigfoot. Like, Bigfoot would come and see him. And a lot of times you would communicate with this like dark entity that would appear. And it's just crazy to me that everyone I've talked to about this who's used it sees a dark entity appear to them. And that seems to be like, we can explain this away with science, I don't give a fuck. That seems truly to me to be like creating a deal with the darkness. You're even communicating with them and seeing them and reacting to them and talking to them. Like, how is that? Like, if every single person's doing it, it's obviously something. There's obviously something there. Someone else even saw mine, which was crazy. It was a toddler, and it was when I was coming off. I knew in the room where this shadowy figure was. And when this toddler walked in, he looked directly at that spot and was terrified. He ran, he sat on a chair, he refused to like look at it, and he looked at me like he was so terrified. And then his mom walked in, and he ran up to her and he grabbed her and he like hugged her, and she picked him up. And I asked him if he saw something over there, and he said yes. And he grabbed my chest. He like literally did this to my chest as he said, it's in. And it was the craziest thing, because I have always had this theory that this darkness that appears is not actually separate from the user, but it's actually part of them. It is their own darkness, almost like bringing itself out into the world to play. And I think that that's one of the reasons why meth is so destructive, because you're inviting the dark parts of yourself to go outside of you and do their thing. And what's their thing? They destroy your life. And I don't even think that they're doing it to be like dark or evil or bad. I think it's just to show you the truth. Like, it's not to be like, oh, I'm the darkness, I'm evil. It's like just to show you the truth of what's going on, and show you the truth of what you're doing to yourself and what you're doing to the people that care about you. It's not to hurt you, but it has to hurt you to show you the truth, because that is what the truth is that you are hurting yourself. So it has to make it very clear to you by hurting you. So I don't know if that makes sense to you, but I really feel like that's what that is. And I know this video doesn't really have like a format or whatever. I just really wanted to talk about these things that it doesn't seem like there's a conversation around this. It doesn't seem like there's a conversation around the fact that when you get on Grindr, every third person has an ice cream emoji, which is an emoji for meth, or they say party with a capital T, which means meth. And I've seen 18-year-old guys, I've seen 23-year-old guys, I've seen 50-year-old guys talking 20-year-olds into doing it, or threatening them into doing it, or like, it's a really messed up thing going on right now, and nothing's happening. Like, I don't see anyone talk about it. It's not on the news, but it's everywhere. Like, when you get on Grindr, like, even if you're not a gay dude, like, just download Grindr, and I swear to God, look, you will see party, P&P, ice cream emoji, like, so many people, even people who don't put it in their profile. You want to meet up with them, and then they tell you that they do drugs, or they show up and they are tweaking out of their mind, and you're like, oh fuck. So you have to really like get that out in the conversation early, and then you'll have people that fully lie to you. I had made plans with someone recently who said he smoked. I assumed he meant weed. Weed is legal where I live, so I didn't think anything of it. I was like, okay, cool, well, I don't smoke. You can smoke as much as you want. It's whatever. And I said the word weed multiple times. I was like, yeah, if you ever want to see someone tweak out except on weed, smoke with me. It's going to be a horrible experience, because I can't do it. Sometimes it's okay, but usually it's not good for me. And he was like, oh, haha, that's funny, whatever. And then, like, right before he was about to come over, he was asking me if I would at least, like, shotgun or something. He's like, would you just, like, at least shotgun? And I'm like, maybe, we'll see what happens. I really don't like weed. You like weed, and I like booze. And he said, I don't smoke weed. And I'm like, that's weird, because I said the word weed over and over and over, and you didn't correct me. And he said, I smoke 3 ice cream emojis. Oh. Of course you do. Of course you do. You're a gay dude. Who the fuck? Duh. Aren't we all just out here smoking dope, banging? Apparently, yes. That's what the culture is now. That's literally what it's becoming. And it's terrifying. It's destroying people's lives. It's destroying people's sanities. It's destroying people's souls. Because whenever you are on drugs, whether you are a good person or a bad person, I always like to pride myself on the fact that I didn't steal anything to like get drugs. I would not have done that. But meth does that to a lot of people. They will steal. They will do whatever they need to do to get the next hit. Anything. It does not matter. They don't care. That's why I lost everything, because people stole all of my stuff to sell it to get more meth. That's how I lost it all. And it's just a conversation that's not happening. So I want to throw out some tips if you are somebody who is trying to get clean, or needs to get clean, or wants to get clean, or is even just thinking about maybe like in the future you might stop. I know how that feels. We're like, I don't want to stop right now, but like, I don't want to do this forever. I know what you're feeling. So here are the things that really helped me. And I'm not like a medical professional or like an addiction therapist, but they helped me. I've been clean now for almost 3 years, I think. I don't know. I'd have to count. It's been a while. So let me tell you what they are. All right. The first thing I did was go to jail, which I don't actually recommend, but excellent rehab program as long as you stay away from the drugs. In jail, I started studying the Bible. I'm not a Christian, but I'm super spiritual. I really love the Bible. I have a copy. Oh, where'd it go? I used to have a copy up here. I don't know where it went, but it's NIV Bible. I love it. I think it's a fantastic book, but I'm not a Christian. But yeah, reading the Bible really helped me a lot. Again, not to push religion on you. I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. I'm not like a Christian at all. So, but reading it was just inspiring. Like, it just inspired me to be a better person and treat other people better. Yeah, so try that. But the whole jail thing, the reason it worked was because I was away from the people that I knew that did the drugs, that I could get the drugs from, that I could bang for the drugs, whatever I needed to do. You know what I mean? Whatever I needed, whoever it was. They weren't around me. So I was not able to just easily access it anymore. So it gave me the time away from it that I needed. It was still in jail, but I don't know, like I did it for a little bit in jail. And then for a month, I stopped. I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. And then I ended up, and I know not everybody can do this, but I ended up moving to a completely different town, which helped for a little bit, but I dove back into it. And why did I dive back into it? Because I didn't feel like I had the experiences on it that I wanted. Like, the whole reason I started doing it again was because I wanted these specific experiences. But what I realized is you're never going to get those. Like, you might, it's a long shot, probably not going to happen. Like, whatever your weird drug fantasy is, it's probably not realistic, because what ends up happening, even if you have that plan, once you're twacked out, you're acting like a wacko, balzo, nutso, psycho nut job. Like, you are no longer on this plane of existence with us. So whatever your plans were, they flew out the fucking window the minute you hit that pipe, the minute you in your arm. Like, it's done. Like, your plans are over. Who the fuck cares? So come to terms with the fact that it's not going to happen. And even if it does, is that really going to fulfill you, or are you just going to want more? Chances are it's not going to fulfill you, and you're just going to want more. So you have to not chase after this plan, but in your heart, come to terms with the fact that you don't need this to be happy. You don't need that plan to come to fruition to feel fulfilled in your life. You can stop. You don't need that plan. It's okay. I also changed my number so that people could not contact me. I stopped using my social media accounts. I created new ones with like a different name so people couldn't easily find me. Like, any presence on the internet completely shifted. Delete your old accounts even if you have 5,000 followers. It's not worth it, because those people know how to reach out to you on those accounts. They know how to find you. Just remove those accounts from existence, create a new account with a different username. Don't use your real name so people can't search it. You know, use a different email. Delete your old email. Don't use it. You know, if you've got shit in there you can't get rid of, then keep it. But if you have email contacts, block them. You know what I mean? Delete the contacts so you don't have them anymore. Get a new phone if you need to. I know not everybody can get a new phone. Like, I didn't do that. That's crazy. So I would just recommend just deleting all the contacts that you have, changing your phone number, just shifting to a completely different contact of everything so that nobody can contact you anymore. And if you delete those contacts and the messages and stuff, you can't contact them either. One thing that helped me a lot was community. I had one of my very close friends from high school, anytime I would use, not when I was on it, but afterward, because you come down and you're really depressed for like a week, sometimes more than a week. You're not high anymore. It's not even in your system, but like your neurons are going crazy. I don't really know the science behind it, but like you're depressed, like the saddest you've ever been. Your body hurts like you have the flu. It's insane. So I have this friend. I really love kids. Like, I don't think I want them for myself, but like they're just beautiful little bright lights of perfection, and I love them. So anytime I was really depressed after I was coming down, again, not on it, but my friend would come over and we would like have dinner, like we'd cook dinner, I'd play with the kids, I'd play house, I'd play tea party, we'd play dinosaur, we'd go to the park and like run around, and just having people in my life that understood like, hey, like, I'm not doing this, I'm not relapsing because I'm a bad person, I'm not relapsing because I want to hurt people, I'm relapsing because I need help and I'm just trying to do my best. Like, and having people in your life that realize that is so important. And don't cry. Ugh. If you don't have anybody in your life that's like that, you can absolutely always feel free to reach out to me. My name is Celispecs on Instagram and Twitter. I'm not as active on those platforms as I used to be. But you can always drop a comment down here with your social media name. I tend to obsessively watch YouTube, so I check my notifications, and like if I get a comment, because I don't really ever get comments, I tend to read them. Sometimes I don't though, so you might miss me. But you can always reach out to me if you need somebody to talk to. I'm a-okay talking to a stranger to try and get you right with yourself. A lot of people say AA works. Statistically, only 5 to 10% of people actually succeed through AA. I personally don't recommend it. Going to AA is how I met the people that I relapsed with, because they were predatorial, and they would go to these meetings and get people to hang out with them and then whip out the drugs in front of you. So I don't personally recommend AA. I will never go to it ever again. One good thing though, if you want to try AA online, that can't happen. So I've actually thought about trying that. I just have an issue with the religious aspect of the step. My personal thing that I can't get over with AA is the whole, you have to like surrender to God and say that you're powerless. I don't believe in that. I don't believe that I am powerless over my addiction. I am powerful over my addiction. That is the only way that I can overcome my addiction, is to assert my power over it and realize that I am better than this. I deserve more than this. And that's another thing you can do. Sit down with yourself and be honest with yourself. Is this the life you truly want to live? If you could do anything in the world that you wanted to do and you had no obstacles tomorrow, what would that thing do? Or what would that thing be? Would you be in a movie? Would you be writing a book? Would you be a best-selling author? Would you be a Grammy award-winning musician? Would you be a professor? Would you be a doctor? Like, what would you be doing if you had no obstacles at all? What would that thing be? And then ask yourself, can I do that if I am on drugs? Chances are you can't. You can try. Probably not going to be too successful. Some people succeed, maybe you can, but chances are it's not going to happen. So be honest with yourself about your actual dreams and your wishes and what you want for your life. And then take the steps necessary to come to that space of self-love and appreciation for who you are, and stop dragging yourself down. It's hard. It's so hard when your life is spiraling and you just want to get lost in that darkness and just get lost in the spiral, because it's easy. It's easier than getting out. It's way easier. But there is always... I'm gonna cry, sorry. There is always a door available. You just have to open it and walk through. That is all you have to do. And if you are a person who is not able to get away with it or get away from it, I know a lot of people, a lot of teenagers are in households where their parents are using it and their parents offer it to them. I had friends like that when I was in high school. I didn't know that they were doing that. I found out later, though, that they were actually doing meth with their mom. And not them, it was one of them. The other one would never have. The other one is actually my friend that helped me get clean. And something that I learned in the Red Table Talk, I think that's like subconsciously why I chose this shirt. From, I can't remember her name, but it's Gammy. That's like her name, like as grandma. I love it. I think it's adorable. I love her. I love her so much. She said, you don't need, and this is so true. She said, we often tend to look at other people's stories for inspiration. Like we look at them to see like, oh, what did they do? They inspire me to do better. But she says, all you need is your own story. That is enough. And it's so true. When she said that, I was just like, oh my gosh. You don't need anybody else's story to convince you to get off drugs, because you have your own story. You have your own inspiring shit, whether you think so or not. Somebody else might hear your story and think, wow, that's so inspiring. I need to get off of drugs. So share your story, even if not with anybody else, with yourself or with the people in your life that you can trust. Lean on them as hard as you need to. And if they are a good friend, if they're a good person, they will let you. They will put out their shoulder and you can just start bawling. And you know what? Not everyone's going to be like that. I've had family drop me. I've had friends drop me. I have had like almost everyone at a certain point in my life completely abandoned me because they were sick of it. And like, I can't blame them, but they're never people that I would want back in my life, because now I know I can't rely on them. So some people, they're going to drop you, and you know what? Let them drop you. It hurts really bad, but just understand that the people who are left, the people left standing, those are your true friends. Those are your real family, man. Pick them, and it's okay. Fuck the other people. They don't matter. They didn't care about you. Oh well. Sucks for them. They lost out on an awesome fucking person. They're lost. Who cares? I planned on making this video like less than 15 minutes long, and I'm already almost 25 minutes. I do this with everything. I can just talk and talk and talk. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up right now. There was a lot more that I wanted to say, but just a quick recap. Whether you're a spiritual person or not, it seems that meth is a deal with the universe to take everything from you. If people try to convince you otherwise, they are lying. They might not be lying. Maybe they truly believe that. That just means they actually are lying to themselves. Don't listen to them. Do not try this drug. It will destroy you. It will wreck every single thing you know and love. And if you think I'm fucking with you, come talk to me, honey. Come talk to me. Lean on the people that you love. talk to people, build a community, get rid of those contacts. Isolate yourself, isolate yourself, isolate yourself, isolate yourself. I cannot say that enough. Isolate yourself. Read some books, do some researches, watch some movies, binge some Netflix series. There's a whole bunch of amazing stuff. I recommend Rain. It's fantastic. Or maybe it's The Rain. I'll put the picture right there. Do whatever you have to do to stay away from that world. Completely block yourself off to all of it so that you're no longer around it, because that is the number one thing. And one thing I did forget to mention that is my biggest thing, and this is totally up to you, whatever you want to do, connect with God. Again, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, and my idea of God isn't like a magic man in the sky, like, rah, you're bad, trouble, punishment you, rah, hell. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in the biblical God. I believe that God is just a force of everything. It's like an ever-expanding movement of consciousness and energy that creates matter, like consciousness, energy, creating our experiences and our reality. It's a really big thing for me, but I still call it God because I don't know what else to call it. Sometimes I call it the universe. Sometimes I call it the all, like whatever you want to call it. Connect with it. Recognize that you're a part of it and that we are all one, and realize that you have a purpose so much bigger than using. It is so much bigger than that. And you can do it. I know you can do it because I did it. And I was literally homeless. I used to sleep with people on drugs just so that I could have food and a shower and drugs. So like, you're talking to someone who literally, I had nothing. Granted, I had help though. I could not have done it without having people to lean on. Like, there's no way. So lean on people, find that person who's going to be your rock. If you don't have one, get online, find some online AA meetings. Like, I don't recommend the in-person ones though. I don't know, just proceed with caution if that's what you choose to do. Recognize your own self-worth, recognize your value, sit down with yourself and have an honest conversation with you, yourself, and you. I was like me, myself, and I, but I realized for you, like you, yourself, and you. There's not another one. Just have an honest conversation with yourself and recognize that you want more from your life than this. And when people judge you, when people want to trash you or start rumors about you, which they will, especially if you're a gay in a small town full of shitty, queenie fucking gays. They love to start shit. It's fantastic. I love it. Let them talk shit. Let them hate. Shake it off, or whatever Taylor Swift said. So if you need anything, please reach out to me. DMs are always open. I don't check them as much as I should, but once I post this, I will try to remind myself to really look. But boom, Cella specs everywhere. I'm going to link it down in the description too. I love you guys so much. If you want some more info on this, or more of my story, more tips, more things that help me get clean, I do have a lot of spiritual experiences I would really love to share. If you are interested in hearing those, let me know in the comments. And if you stuck around until the end of the video, throw me a duck emoji, wah, wah, like that. Well, not the sound, because I don't think that there's sound emojis. What if they did sound emojis? That'd be amazing. That'd be amazing. I gotta go. My phone's dying. I'm just gonna keep rambling until it's dead, apparently. So, I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Fight for what is right. Do the right thing. Love each other, even your enemy. Doesn't mean you have to be friends with them. Doesn't mean you have to hang out with them. But please, just be a kind, good, caring person. Stand up for what's right. Do the right thing. Thank you guys. Subscribe, comment, like, share, do all the things. Okay, bye. I don't really prescribe to the idea that addiction is a disease. If you do, that's okay. I'm just saying, I don't think about it in that way. I do think it's important to think about it in that way, though, in legal terms, so that we can start getting addicts assistance rather than punishment. It's fucking insane to me that if you are a drug addict, you get punished instead of helped. Why does that make sense? It doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. What was I talking about?